It's the scariest month of the year, and what could be scarier than doing something you've never done before?
On this show, we've talked about movies, TV, bands, foods, and concepts, but we've never covered a song.
So this week, we do something double scary. Talk about the scariest song out there. The Monster Mash!
How Star Wars is it?
Hello there.
Whoa, hello there, Mike. I wanted to be scary this time. I don't know why.
Did I ever hi Josiah, I'm Mike. You're
Hello,
Josiah.
Mike.
Did I
I'm
ever
Josiah.
tell you
Welcome to How Star Wars Is
about this is the podcast where we rate and review things, not of how good or bad they are, but of how Star Wars they are. We give it a
That's right.
score 1 out of 10, like 2 stars up or 5 thumbs down, but
Yep.
we give it 1 out of 10 of how Star Wars something is. Does it relate to Star Wars at all? Does it have any of the tropes? It gets points. Does it not? It doesn't. Have I ever told you about my house growing up for Halloween, that my dad got really into it? Did I talk about that last year?
I feel like you talked about it last year, but I think it bears repeating.
Well,
it
my dad went all out. He built a coffin at home with a table saw and plywood.
Wow.
It was the whole deal. Before you could just buy shit like that too. We had
Right.
tombstones that he made out of plywood and a hand router. Before you could just buy those foam tombstones at every hardware store and every Target. But the reason I brought that up is when we were doing ho 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 ho, he had the reason I thought of that was my dad had a CD that was just 4 hours or however long of just spooky sounds. and it wasn't like sound effects. It was an environmental sound,
Sure.
a soundscape. And there was was in it, ho 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 ha 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 ha.
I love
man,
that.
I would love to find, obviously photographs at night of a house with a strobe light and black lights probably don't take very well, especially with a disposable camera or the Mission Impossible 2 digital camera of that day and age. But there are definitely photos of us as kids and with my dad and his whole getup. But yeah, it was dark and scary and black light and strobe lights and fog. And then that sound scheme that's the sound, like Star Wars, both the sound effects and the score are the really unsung heroes, the things that don't get any credit for doing the impossible, which is make that movie that should have never happened something on the AFI list.
Well, and it also, speaking of scary stuff, and we just talked about scary movies, and we're talking about a scary song today, but they've said it, it's been said before that in scary movies, the music is what lets you know that you're supposed to be scared.
Yeah, right.
Because what would be just someone walking down a hall turns into a very tense moment of and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And speaking of scary songs, and scary
let's
music,
just go ahead and get into that, because one of my very first notes for this week's subject, which is the Bobby Pickett hit, or Bobby Boris Pickett rather, seminal Halloween hit, The Monster Mash, or I think maybe just Monster Mash.
The name of the song is just Monster Mash.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But also it's referred to as the Monster Mash all the time,
Well,
and I'm going to call
sure.
it the Monster Mash.
They did the Monster Mash. One of my only notes I wrote down about this song as being pro Star Wars, and then we can maybe just get into the song itself, is sound effects.
Oh yeah,
There's tons of sound effects in this song.
lot of Foley work
Jingling
going
chains,
on.
bubbling cauldrons.
The creaks. So okay, jumping right in it. This is a great song, and
Holy shit.
I would like to. I listened to it several times today in preparation.
Let's go over our own personal attachments to this song. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yes. First off, this is the first time we've done a song by itself. This is very exciting.
And it's good. It's a good one to start with. Like we're not doing like Wonderwall. We're doing a song that has a story, that has like a vibe. Like that already sort of lends itself to being more narrative than like Boulevard of Broken Dreams. The reason that song came to mind is because I said Wonderwall, and those two songs are the same song.
Yeah. I'll allow it. I mentioned this to Mike earlier tonight because we were recording we're recording our slate of scary episodes. And so I was a very afraid child of everything. I had horrible nightmares that made me not able to sleep for about 2 years, where I could not fall asleep because I was too scared to sleep because of my nightmares. And my parents tried everything, and it literally took like, I think 1.5 years, 2 years for me to get to a point where I had enough control over, well, what happened was, and this is kind of cute, so I'll just share it. I have no no connection to religion or faith anymore, but as a child I was Christian, and like my family is very, very Christian and stuff. And so like my dad was and my mom were like, well, when you're having a nightmare, maybe try thinking of one of your memory verses, because like that's something you do when you're a kid in church, is like you memorize verses from the Bible or whatever. So they call them like the memory verses, right?
I thought that meant like Bible verses that have to do with memory.
Yes. Control F in the Bible to find the memory verses. But so I would try to do that, and then it got to, so I would like start reciting whatever.
For God so loved the world.
When I was like, it's weird because it's in the middle of a dream, so it's not like I was actually saying it. But what the trick was, and like later on in life when I learned more about like nightmares and dreams and lucid dreaming and stuff. The trick to be able to stop a dream or control a dream is to realize you're dreaming, and then from there you can like do whatever. So like the fact that I was afraid and then would be able to have the conscious thought of say a verse would let me realize I was dreaming, and so then I could say the verse, which would then like stop the dream because I was focusing on the verse, and then I would just wake up. So that led to doing that a lot, led to basically I could just wake up whenever I wanted to if I was having a nightmare, because instead of just saying a verse, I'd be like, oh, this is a nightmare. Fuck this. And I just wake up. And so I can still do that now.
Well, wait a second. That is in Ecclesiastes, I think, isn't
right.
it?
It's
this is a nightmare.
This.
Fuck this.
Yeah. That's actually what Job says all the time. He's like, this is a fucking nightmare. Fuck this. But so like, because of that, I can lucid dream sometimes, but I always have the ability to stop dreaming if I don't want to be in the dream anymore. But all that to say, I was very afraid, and like I didn't like scary stuff because everything would make me think I was gonna have a nightmare. And so the Monster Mash was included in scary stuff because it has monster in the name, and it says things like vampires, Dracula, ghouls, and zombies. And so like I have a very specific memory of when I was very young in elementary school in music class, and the music teacher was playing the Monster Mash, and it was like, let's get up and dance. And I was like crying on my like and down on my hands and knees, like fetal position, or I guess cowering, closing my eyes and my ears in order to not take in any sensory data so that I couldn't hear the Monster Mash because it was too scary. The idea of the monsters was too scary. Like that's all it took. So like for a long time, the Monster Mash was not something I liked.
So funny.
And it honestly wasn't until I think like late when I started listening to Comedy Bang Bang, and they do that Monster Mash bit every Halloween, or they did for a long time, that I like started remembering the Monster Mash and was like, oh, this is a funny, goofy song,
cute.
And like you listen to it around Halloween.
Right.
But when I was a kid, it was very traumatizing.
So I today listened to it as well, and I was on Spotify, and it was like, you go to the song. I actually went to the guy, Bobby Boris Pickett, who has like an entire like creepy, spooky album.
Yeah.
And this is like the song from it. The song appears on a bunch of playlists, and there's stuff like Halloween Party Mix, and I was like, what the fuck other songs could be on this? Like people love Christmas music, and that's almost like saying you love music. because like there's so many Christmas songs. But if you said I love Halloween music, I would give you a weird look for the exact opposite reason, because there is one Halloween song. It is the Monster Mash.
Well, hey, I will let me debate that real quick, because I know at least one other one.
Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell.
I was gonna say Thriller. by Michael Jackson.
Well that's a yeah, sure.
And this one is just for me, but like for some reason every Halloween for the last like 3 years, and I think it's because there was some Spotify Halloween playlist that I got on one time. I listened to Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads just on repeat, and it's not a Halloween song.
No,
it's not even really a scary song. It just says Psycho Killer.
Yeah, right.
But I listen to it on repeat every now.
So my like relation to this song, I have a couple of different things. One is, as a kid, I got to work at the haunted house at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis. When I was a teen, I got to be a haunter in like the actually scary times. But when I was even younger, when my mom was volunteering there, I would get to like be with her during friendly hours or lights on. It depended on the year. They called it different things, but like there was like haunted hours and friendly hours. And like the friendly hours was like you can actually see and take in all the design work that went into like making this haunted house. It's like really pretty and like really well thought out. And like there's nice moms in cute witch outfits who give you candy as you walk through because you're like 4. And then for all the other times of the year, like at a certain hour of the night, or even just some days were just only the scary version. But when I got to work in the cute one, they would always have like a cute Halloween soundtrack, or a soundtrack that had to do with that year's theme. They did a theme a lot of years. So like there was one year that there was a lot of like piratey stuff because it was like a pirate theme, but like no matter what, the Monster Mash was always on the soundtrack. And then the other thing, so the Monster Mash song to that end always put me in a Halloweeny mood. The other thing is the other kind of relation I have to the song is anytime I'm in a group of friends that has like some shared Spotify playlist, or someone is making like a CD or just anything, I will always, or if someone has like an Alexa, no matter what, I will always try to get the Monster Mash on that playlist. And like there was this one summer that like 10 or 11 of us, we were all this was like maybe 3 years ago. A bunch of us were single, and it was like a fun summer that like a bunch of us just like hung out, like a group of us. We went and got like a cabin in Wisconsin at one point. Like it was just like a whole fun summer, and we had a shared playlist, and I put the Monster Mash on there, and just like anytime when someone was listening to the playlist had like 200 songs or something, but anytime one of that group was listening to the playlist and that song came on, they would like text the rest of the group and say like, I just got Monster Mashed.
It's like getting iced, but getting Monster Mashed. I do that during, but like this is specifically for holiday, during Christmas with Dominic the Donkey, which is the best Christmas song ever written.
I don't know if I know that.
And not everyone knows it, but it's very good. And everyone also hates it because it's annoying. Because it's like, ching-a-dee-ching, hee-haw, hee-haw. Like it makes donkey noises, and it's the best song ever. But anytime there's Christmas music playing, I'm like, let me just go ahead and slip Dominic the Donkey in there real quick.
I would argue that more people will know the Monster Mash than Idina Menzel.
Oh, I would agree. The Monster Mash is global. It's well, I don't know if it's global, but it's national for sure. Real quick, here's what I want to do. Let's just can we just read the lyrics?
Yeah, actually,
is that boring?
I was thinking about that as well. I have them up, and a thought I have beforehand, and it will reveal itself as we read it. But to tie into both last week's episode on Scream and just the idea of this podcast and Star Wars being like meta and self-referential and aware of itself. This song kind of is in that same ballpark because this song it's like the song Tribute by Tenacious D. It's a song about a song or about a dance, but that's not necessarily what this song is.
I wrote that down. I wrote that down. I was like, is Monster Mash? I said, this song the Monster Mash? Or is the Monster Mash a dance? Or is the Monster Mash a separate song that this song is telling you about? Is it both a dance and a separate song.
I think
it's
at the very least it's a dance. It might be though like the hand jive or the hop or like the hustle, like where the song accompanies it, or the electric slide. But at the very least, we can read the lyrics. But I think my hypothesis is it is just a dance. It's like saying they did the worm.
Yeah, because it feels like. Let's see. Okay, let's look at the text. All right, let's look at the text.
Let's do a textual analysis.
And we don't have to read the chorus every time because it's kind of the same. So
this is a HSWII Textual Analysis.
Do you want to go back and forth, just like verse to verse?
Yeah.
I'll start. Okay. I was working in the lab late one night. I need to recognize that audio cue that you did of HSWII Textual Analysis was very good. Okay, here we go. I was working in the lab.
You gotta at least
late one night.
If you're just gonna read them clean, the only one you have to do with the affect is that very first line.
Which he also doesn't really sing in this song. He just says it's very cool. When my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the mash. He did the monster mash. You know that part.
Yeah.
So
first of all, for my monster from his slab began to rise is a great grammatical phrase. Also, this whole thing is the night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas. And
also, like for my monster from his slab began to rise is like one of my favorite things that songs do to like make a rhyme happen.
They like just work so hard grammatically.
Yeah, it reminds me. I think we talked about this on the show before, but it's like fucking like Reliant K and like the Sadie Hawkins dance. But it's like I said that's one thing I won't be needing. It's like no one would say that. You'd say I don't need that. I won't need that.
But I appreciate the gymnastics to get to a rhyme like needing as opposed to the rhyme that you hear. And I feel like every song, someone will say myself a lot in a song because a lot of times songs are sung from someone's point of view and it's about them and their relation to someone or something else. And then almost always the follow-up rhyme to self is shelf. And further, it's always like on your shelf or on the shelf, like have my heart on the shelf or something. So I like won't be needing, and I like for my monster from his slab began to rise, or arose such a clatter.
Yes, it's very good.
The monster mash indeed was a graveyard smash. He did the mash, it caught on in a flash, so it's a contagious dance.
Yes, he did the mash to the monster mash.
My guess is that it's quite easy to do. So from my laboratory in the castle east, to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes.
So this is interesting, right? Because now we have a better idea of the setting.
Yeah. Okay. So he was working in the lab late one night, so it was about him for a while.
And so his lab is in a castle. It would seem it is in an estate of some sort.
Yeah, the castle east.
There is a castle east, there, which presumably means there's a castle west.
Yeah, so either his lab was in the east of multiple castles, or it was in the east part of the castle, like the west wing, the castle east.
And there is a master bedroom in this castle where vampires live. So like
and feast.
And they feast. For some reason they're feasting in the bedroom, not
breakfast
in the kitchen. So the setting of this takes place in a large estate. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes.
So they're neighbors.
Yes, they're neighbors, and they're coming to get high, it seems, because they're trying to get high on those electrodes.
Yeah, it's like doing whippets.
so then they did the mash, the monster mash, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, caught on the flash.
Everyone's doing it's doing it now, not just the monsters. Yes. So then here's what's fun because we learn a little more. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. So we're having guests now. Yes. Zombies are coming. Wolfman is there. Dracula, and so there are vampires that live here, but then also Dracula came and his son.
Now, one would suppose that Boris here, the auteur, the narrator, by his voice, I would have thought he was Dracula or a vampire. Now, fine that he's not. Yeah. He's a mad scientist, perhaps, because he's working in his lab, of course.
But he's doing kind of a Boris whatever voice, right? I can't remember the name.
Boris Karloff.
Yes. So the scene was rocking. All were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, or Igor.
Yeah. It hadn't been Mel Brooks yet.
Yes. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds.
Uh-huh.
The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5.
Yeah,
so this is what leads me to believe that it is just a dance and not a song.
Yeah, because the song hadn't begun yet.
Exactly. and so like this band is coming to accompany a dance, basically, as opposed to saying, here we are going to play the Monster Mash, right? But then it says, wait. I'm wrong, because the next line, they played the mash. They played the Monster Mash.
Good point.
It was a reverse mash. They played the mash at Conan and Flash.
This feels almost like when we discovered that the Return of the Jedi is a 10 out of 10. You're right.
Yeah, we're really
played
getting to
the
the meat of
mash.
it.
They played the monster. Okay, so first of all, let's take a step back really quick. Do a flashback here to the beginning. He was working in the lab. We're to believe that this is a Frankenstein, a Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes, a Dr. Frankenstein situation.
Because for his monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to his surprise, the monster began dancing, is what we are to believe. We are not to believe that any music was playing.
No, it seems that the monster just got up off his slab and began to dance. And then when everyone else joined in, there's still not music.
Correct.
They're just doing the mash. It's not until the Crypt Kicker 5 arrives that music happens.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so let's see. Out from his coffin, Drax's voice did ring. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?" Now, it's now the mash.
It's now the mash.
It's now the Monster Mash.
So the Transylvania twist, once again, we don't know if it's a song or a dance.
Sounds an awful lot like a dance, though, like the twist.
It does, like the twist. So, but it is no longer, it is now the mash. The new cool thing is the mash. It's the Monster Mash.
Right. Which, I want to say that that's sort of like a commentary on just like life and fashion and what's cool in general. You know, like, we're right now in that cycle where things from like mid-century are cool, and like the sort of pastel colors from the 80s are cool. Ben Folds' autobiography I just read recently has like talks a lot about that. He actually says how in the 90s when Ben Folds 5 was starting, they were not far away enough from things like pop music on a piano, like Billy Joel and Elton John, to be, when it came back around to being cool again, they were like in between when piano pop was cool. So that's why they were kind of this weird culty indie band that like enough people were like, actually, yeah, that is cool. But like the mainstream was like, I don't think so. I think angry and grunge is cool right now.
Yes,
so
only
this
guitars.
Is Dracula going, you know, Dracula's immortal, famously.
And he's old.
Had this thing from back in his day, and he's like, oh, these kids today, they aren't even doing the Transylvania twist anymore. And they're like, well, we're doing some version of it. It's now the mash.
And so, but now, to continue.
Yes.
Now everything's cool. Drax a part of the band.
Okay, so he's in now.
My Monster Mash is the hit of the land. For you, the living, this mash was meant too. So it's not just for monsters, it's for us.
Also a fun grammar.
When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you. So we are to understand that we are invited to this party.
Yeah.
Boris seems to be also a human.
I would believe that Boris is the host of the party, though, yes?
Yes, Boris is the host of the party.
Tell them Boris invited you.
I think Boris
is the one. Makes it feel like Boris was at a different party and said, "Oh, go check out that party."
Right. Well. So it makes it seem like Boris is the one singing, right? We can agree on that.
Yes.
He's the one. He's the Frankenstein in the situation.
Yeah. Right.
So Boris, tell him Boris sent you is like he's not answering the door because he's probably working in the lab late one night.
Sure.
But the mash is going on and all these other monsters are there.
Yeah.
So.
They're okay, you rang. What would you like? And you're like, oh, Boris sent me.
Boris sent me. Yeah. And they're like, oh, come on in.
What so you would really say is like, oh, I'm friends with Boris.
Right. So I think from this textual analysis, we can say with certainty that it is both. I think it was first a dance, and then the Crypt Kicker 5 made it into a song as well.
Yeah.
So it is both of them.
Yeah. Do you think the Crypt Kicker 5 are collectively singing a song that sounds like this song?
No. I think that this is a song about, I think you're right, it's like Tribute by Tenacious D.
Right.
It is a song about a song, and we don't actually know what the Monster Mash sounds like.
Now, I want to just look really quick. Okay, so Monster Mash from 1962, the album is called Monster Mash, and there's a bunch of other like fucking spooky, scary songs on it. The artists that are credited are Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Kickers.
Yes.
So
wait. So there he wrote himself into his own song.
He is in his own song, as are the Crypt Kicker 5, and his band was the Crypt Kickers. So I'm thinking either it's one of those things where, like, you know, like the trend right now of like the Pete Holmes TV show or any
yes.
TV show of a comedian where it's like sort of autobiographical.
Right.
Like
it's
maybe
like
the Crypt Kickers are his actual band, but like he sort of changed the detail in the fictional song to the Crypt Kicker 5. And
also,
maybe the song had the same backbeat but not the same structure, or...
Yeah.
Oh, and we should also finish the song. They do the chorus one more time, and then there's like dialogue, which includes mash good, easy Igor, you impetuous young boy, mash good, grr.
Which is also strange, right? Because like Igor is not like mash good sounds like a Frankenstein
the monster
thing,
would
right?
say.
The monster say, but it's strange. Okay.
The monster from his slab began to say mash good.
So we figured out that mystery.
We're certain it's a dance. We are certain there is a song. The dance came before the song, and the song is maybe not this song.
So some things. So to bring it to Star Wars. First off, Wolfman.
Yes. Right.
And then second, there are sequels to this song.
Uh-huh.
You've got the Monsters Holiday, which is the Christmas version.
Yes.
You've got the Monster Rap.
Yeah, Rap for Me Daddy.
You've got the movie musical based on this song.
What?
Yes. And then you've got the Monster Slash, which was a anti-George Bush campaign song about how bad his environmental policies were.
Oh my God! There's also that Will Smith song "Nightmare on My Street," which is not a Monster Mash, but I just remembered that is also a Halloween song.
Okay, yes. So there is a whole sort of universe surrounding this song, and it has sequels. Yes, and so the Monster Mash is a 1995 musical comedy horror film written and directed by Joel Coen.
Huh.
Not of the Coen brothers, sorry. But he did write Toy Story. He did help write Toy Story, so that's crazy.
What?
Yeah, strange, very strange. Weird. That's all I'm going to say.
I wrote a couple Star Wars-y things. One is this song, first of all, it has 5 verses and a bridge. They're short verses, but I would call that, given that we learn new information and the sort of arc sort of changes at each time, I would call that a 5-act structure, which if this were how Shakespeare is it, that's a resounding affirmative.
Verily.
How very.
How very.
But Star Wars is very famously the typical Hollywood 3-act structure.
Right.
The other thing I wrote down was there's clunky dialogue. And right there at the end, mash good, easy Igor, you impetuous young boy, mash good, grr.
You know, also, I mean, I want to say, like you said earlier, Foley of sound effects.
Yes,
I
sound
think
effects
also
is
like
big.
I think so. We got practical effects, right,
Yep.
with the sound effects, and also like a bunch of colorful characters for
That's
sure.
True. Yeah, this is a very like cantina scene.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say that obviously a thing we say about Star Wars is that it has great music. Now this is only one song, so it's a pass-fail. I would say, is it great music or is it not? I would say this song fucking fucks.
Yeah, this song slaps. It rules.
I think the music of the song is truly good. We just watched Rocky Horror Picture Show over the weekend, which would be another fun one to do some Halloween.
Oh, that would be fun.
And like it's similar. Like that movie's kind of a mess, and it's like funny and pervy and like culty, obviously. But like if like I just listen to that soundtrack sometimes because the music just like rules, and I would like. I have to be in a very specific mood if it's not a Halloween party to listen to Monster Mash. But I would listen to Monster Mash because I think the song is good.
The piano is cool. It's doing like the dun 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 dun.
Yes,
dun, dun,
it's
dun.
like very like 50s rock and roll.
Yes.
Like yeah.
It's a throwback. It is, and you know, I would say maybe this is sort of a pastiche a little bit, because it is taking a musical sensibility of the previous decade in a way.
It's doing its own like some of its parts things too, because it's not only doing a musical pastiche, but it's also saying like, hey, all those classic monsters from like the 30s, like the Mummy and the Wolfman and the Dracula and everything. Like, I want to use those influences on my art.
Yes. It's also the I lost my train of thought. I can't remember what I was gonna say. But the music is good. Oh yes, the harmonies, the background singers is very fun.
Yes.
He's doing a impression of the Boris last name I can't remember again. Karloff, thank you. And it's funny, but he's like singing the whole thing, but it works. It's good. It definitely slaps.
That's a good point. I like don't in general love speak singing. Like I get the artistry to like the William Shatner like spoken word thing,
right? Like the Leonard Cohen kind of
yeah, but
stuff.
like I need, I forget who said this, but someone was quoted as saying something like lyrics are what trick people into listening to music or something like that. Some version of that, and I similarly I need just like I'm not really a lyric person. I can
need
go.
A tune.
I have my like some of my like very favorite songs are songs that I could like sing you every word. I don't know what they're about because I don't like listen to the story or the meaning because I'm not really good at that. I can hear the like third harmony. Like if there's like the main singer and then like the bass player doing a harmony, if like the drummer ever has a third harmony, I can hear that like my first time listening to the song. But like I don't know what a song is about. I couldn't tell you what truly some of my favorite songs are about. But
that's
regardless, like I usually need at least sung words.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have sung words except for the chorus, and I am still like involved and invested.
Two things. Well, what's interesting about this song is it is spoke sung. Speak sung. Wow, that's weird.
Sung.
But his voice is so melodic the whole time that it almost tricks you into a melody, right? Like you probably could actually notate it because he's like Dracula and his son. Like there's a melody there, right?
Yeah.
Second thing, it's interesting you say that because
Charlie
and I were talking about this recently because she's a big Taylor Swift fan. I don't like Taylor Swift normally or as much. Respect her as a musician, as a person. She's gone through a lot, whatever. Just her music doesn't vibe with me normally. But Folklore, the most recent one, I liked. We listened to it a lot together. And Charlie is a person who has to understand what each song is about. And so she sits there and listens to the words and is like, what's this about? What do you think it's about? And I'm like, I don't know. And I also don't really care. I just like the artistry of it. I like the lyrics are another instrument. Like, the lyrics and the words are a part of the melody
mix.
Or the harmonies. And it's all one thing to me. It's like, it's another instrument.
Right.
And so like, I was realizing that when having this conversation with her where I was like, yeah, I don't know if I know what songs are about all the time, and I also don't need to know what they're about to enjoy them.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that because I'm exactly that way, and I feel like, in fact, I feel like we've even had this conversation, not you and me, but Caitlin and I have had this conversation before of, I wonder what the breakdown is of people who either immediately know what a song is about or like listen to it enough times to learn what it's about versus people like what you and I are both talking about where it's like I could hear a song 100 times and fall in love with it but not know a single like message of it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's something like 50-50 or if it's something more like most people want to know the words and what they mean. I don't know, but we were talking about Bare Naked Ladies just this past like yesterday, in fact. And I was saying, like, we were talking about the message in their songs and like their sort of attitude, and I was like, they're kind of like funny and weird and like comedy almost. And Caitlin said something about them being almost like sad and like kind of emotional and having like kind of like talking about like how people are awful sort of. And I was like, whoa, I haven't ever gotten that. And then I thought more about lyrics, and I was like, oh, you know what is doing it to me? The sound and like the major poppiness of it, as well as just his voice is kind of like poppy and like in a weird, like almost operatic way. He's just like, he seems like he's happy, and that like undermines the songs having any like melancholy or like ennui to them for me. That doesn't mean they don't. You know, like Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind is a similar thing, that it's like about like drugs and sex, but it's like the most bouncy like 1950s rock and roll song.
Well, and it's to those songs' credit, because it tricks you into thinking it's happy, and then when you realize it's like there's more to it, there's more depth there, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And I think that's like, some musicals that I really enjoy do that, where the music tricks you into thinking it's simple, but then like you look into it and you realize that it's actually very complicated. And pop music in general does that, right? Like pop music is very good at being like, it's all happy and fun and whatever. And then like when you start breaking it down, you're like, oh, this is more complicated than I thought. And I think like one of the reasons I liked Folklore versus Taylor Swift's other albums is because a lot of times on her songs are very personal, and it's literally her being like, I'm mad at this specific person, and I know who it is because she's famous,
right?
And I know too much about the song, about what it's about, and that ruins it for me, exactly. And so like on Folklore, it's all metaphorical and allegory or whatever, and that separation allowed me to listen to it and not have to worry like, oh, she's talking about Tom Hiddleston or whatever. Like that made me enjoy it. Whereas before I was like, I can't enjoy this because I know that she's just like talking about,
Harry
Katy Perry or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we got into some interesting musical analysis, didn't we?
Now I want to do songs all the time. So like we can go to the break soon, but talking about Semi-Charmed Life, that and Love Shack, I realize that's like a silly song.
Love Shack, baby.
It's almost at the level of Monster Mash of like novelty song. But those two, as well as the New Radicals, You Get What You Give, those three are like my go-tos when people ask me what my favorite song is. I realize that Love Shack being in one of the three is like a pretty silly answer, but the reason behind it is if you had to pay in the way that like iTunes was 10 years ago, if you had to pay 99 cents for a song, you get the most for your money with those songs because they throw different ideas at you. Like 3/4 of the way through the song, there's a breakdown of Love Shack, and then all of a sudden there's like, I can't hear you. And I've always wanted to do like a TED Talk on why I think Love Shack is the best song in the world. Maybe we just have to do more songs on this show.
Maybe so. I'm okay with it. But yeah, let's jump to the break, and then we'll come back and play a game.
Okay. And we're Drac.
I love it. You love.
He's only ever called Drac. Oh, no, he's called Dracula once, but he's called Drac twice.
Yeah, it's like, are they friends?
Yeah, probably.
Presumably.
I mean, he came to his party.
That's true.
With Wolfman and, of course, his own son.
It's true. He brought his own son, which seems dangerous, but then I guess that he is a vampire as well, so he probably has his own powers. Speaking of vampires and their own powers, welcome to... I have the game today, so welcome to the Monster Mash Hack and Slash Bash. So, Mike... You have been invited to the Monster Mash because it is also it is also for the living, right?
I'm not kidding. Right before we started this, I was going to say I wish I could like go to this party and see what it is like.
Well, this is exciting because you get to go to the party, right? You're there, you're invited. You get to go into this large estate. You're in this sort of grand banquet hall, okay? So, here's the thing though, Mike. These are monsters. All right. They're dangerous. Okay. And you're just a living human person. So in the Monster Mash.
So I'm me.
You are you. In the Monster Mash Hack and Slash Bash, you're going to have to tell me how you will defend yourself against and dispose of all these monsters. Okay. You can use anything at your disposal in this giant estate. All right, so you are in this large banquet hall. There is a large table with silverware and platters and food, all sorts of stuff. There's a large roaring fireplace. You've got firewood, kindling. There's an axe that they use to chop the firewood.
The poker?
The poker, yes.
Okay.
You've got there's a coat of arms above the mantle with two real swords in it.
Okay.
So that's just some stuff that you'd see as weapons occasionally, right out of the gate. So.
Any suits of armor?
There's a suit of armor, yes. Two of them on either side. Scooby-Doo is inside of it.
Is he telling me which way the mystery gang went?
Yeah, he's going that way. So
by the way, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? The very original Scooby-Doo, the first 2 seasons, I don't know how many there ever were, but there are 2 seasons on HBO Max, and I watched like 4 episodes this past weekend working on toys.
Amazing. I need to get that because there's so many shows I want to watch. Anyway, on that. So part of this game is a quiz to see if you know how to kill these classic monsters.
Oh, okay.
And if you do, then you have to tell me how to do it, right? So we'll see if you survive. Okay, first things first, Mike.
First things first, I'll eat your brain. That's a different monster song.
It's true. So the vampires in the master bedroom have come out. And they see you, a living person, and they want to eat you. So, Mike, how would you kill these vampires?
Well, I will say, I know that they are not hungry. Because if they were in the master bedroom, I am aware that is where the vampires feast.
It's true.
But, okay.
They want to save you for later.
Okay, so vampires, you can't kill them unless you invite them to be killed? Is that right?
I love that idea because it's like technically you would be just in the process of killing someone, you would be inviting them to be killed.
Yes.
But they wouldn't
invite you to die.
I guess it's like, do they accept the invitation?
Yeah, right. Okay, so well okay, let me ask this.
Okay.
Are they concerned with their own appearance?
No.
Oh, they aren't. Okay. I was wondering if they were concerned with their appearance. If I tried to show them their reflection in a mirror, of course, they would not see themselves, and then they would be so distraught that they die.
Right.
But I think you kill a vampire. You can keep them away with garlic. Is there any garlic on the table?
There is large cloves of garlic on the table.
Good. So I'm going to just keep that on my person. My guess is that gives me a radius of sorts.
Yeah.
But it doesn't kill them, I don't think, right?
It doesn't kill them.
So can that be my stopgap for now?
Yes. So you have not killed these vampires, but you have stopped them. So good job. You have no injuries so far.
Okay, cool.
All right. So next on the docket, we've got the ghouls. They all came from the humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes. So these are ghouls, right? And ghouls are an actual kind of monster.
Yeah, shit.
And they are they are normally sort of weird ghost/zombie kind of things, mostly
right. I feel like they have some corporealness.
Yes, and they are mostly from more Middle Eastern traditions. But tell me, how would you dispatch these ghouls? Because they're coming up to you and they're looking a little aggressive.
I want to know, and this might just be a question I ask, or it might be something I attempt on them.
Okay.
If things just pass through them.
Okay, sure.
Like a ghost.
What do you want to try?
Or are they solid? So I'm going to grab that fire poker.
Okay.
And just kind of like ram at them or swipe at them. I'm wondering, are they like the twins from the Matrix sequels, where they are solid until they want to not be solid?
Well, so you swipe. You swipe/poke at one of them, right? Well, you see that you swipe/poke, and you do it very hard, and it falls to the ground, not moving.
Oh dear. Okay.
And it looks dead.
Okay, but it did already.
Well, it was ambulating, and now it's not.
Oh, I see.
So you seem
it's prone.
You seem to have dispatched these. I'll say you've dispatched the ghouls in general because you swiped at them with this poker. Now, to tell everybody, Mike lucked out just now because apparently the way to kill a ghoul is you have to kill it in one hit, swipe like one single strike of a sword. Because if you hit it again more than once, it pops back up and is still alive. So you have to kill it with one hit. Apparently,
it's like the pen bomb in GoldenEye.
Yes, it's exactly.
You click it 3 times and it's armed. If you click it another 3 times, it's not armed.
It's exactly like that. Okay, so now here's these
zombies.
zombies.
Boris is over there just clicking it away.
Oh, but Boris is going nuts. So now you've got the zombies. They're having fun. So how are you going to get these zombies?
Okay, you gotta get the brain out of the zombie.
You gotta get that brain.
You gotta get the brain. I presume I still have this poker.
You have this poker, yeah.
How many zombies are we talking?
I barely even know her. We'll just say 1 because I don't want you to have to fight more than 1.
I mean, like, I feel like this is going to become sort of my, like, Super Smash, like, go-to character is this poker, like, my weapon of choice. Because, like, I feel like a poker through the brain works.
Okay.
So I'm going to do... I'm glad I don't have to, like, roll for dexterity.
No, you can just do it if you want.
I'm going to say the, like, end, the sharpest. So, like, the poker kind of has, like, the little curvy part up. I'm going to aim the very end point straight through, like, the temple, or the center, rather, of the forehead of the zombie.
So you do that, and the zombie is stopped for a second, but then keeps coming at you.
Uh-oh.
And you are bitten. I'm so sorry,
dear.
Mike. You're bitten by a zombie. That's your first injury.
And now I'm basically a Republican who refuses to wear a mask.
Exactly.
I'm going to endanger everyone else knowing that I am going to become a zombie.
So here's the thing, Mike. You fell victim to going with the movie zombies as opposed to the classic zombies from different parts of the world that are corpses that are brought back. So you could have killed it by, if you had beheaded it, then maybe burned the body and thrown the ashes away so it can't come back.
Yikes.
That would have worked.
Okay.
Or if you could have gotten it back into its original grave, that could have worked. There's a lot of different ways to kill different zombies depending on the culture they're from. But the movie zombies were the ones that invented the whole, like, get rid of the brain thing.
Got it.
All right, so guess who else is here? Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. They're all coming at you at once. First, Wolfman, what are you going to do?
Okay, I look around for a revolver.
Oh, there's one on the table.
Okay, and I open up the chambers and I see if there's any bullets in it.
You are. There are bullets.
And what color are they?
They're silver.
Okay. I chug real quick a Coors Light, a silver bullet, and I fire the silver bullet at the Wolfman.
You do. You nail him right in the heart, and he is dead. So apparently, a wolfman versus a werewolf is interesting because werewolves were humans that turned into wolves.
Sure.
And Wolfman and the sort of modern idea of a werewolf was also not invented until Hollywood because they didn't have a way to make a human look like an actual wolf. And so they did the whole half human, half wolf thing.
Yes. But he is a bipedal wolf as opposed to a human who, okay.
He is a human-wolf hybrid that is a monster. And if you get silver into his heart will stop beating.
Yes.
Apparently, you can also kill werewolves just by, like, just normal killing ways. It's just very hard. Because, like, the stuff I was looking up was like, yeah, if you just, like, shoot him a lot.
Drown
or, like,
him.
slash him a lot. Or, like, beat him up a lot.
Okay.
But it's, like, hard. So you've picked the easiest way. Congratulations. But now there's Dracula.
Yeah, I'm presuming that my cloves of garlic are keeping him a little bit at arm's length.
They're keeping him away.
Okay.
But he's coming at you, and he's a little more stronger than those other vampires. So how are you going to take him out?
I'm going to utilize this garlic radius that I have to buy myself some time. I'm going to go over to the fireplace.
Okay.
I'm going to get that axe that you mentioned that they used to chop down the wood, and I'm going to chop up a little splinter of a log into a wooden stake.
Great.
I might need the help of, like, a steak knife from the table or one of those coat of arms swords to, like, whittle it further.
Yep, great.
I am going to stab that into Dracula's heart, but I do need to know. Obviously, his actual age is going to be a question because vampires and their age and all that, but does the son look like a little kid?
No, he's a grown-up.
Oh, okay, then I do the same thing to him.
Okay, great. So you stab Dracula in the heart with a stake, which is effective, and Dracula turns into dust.
Oh.
But what's interesting is that in the book Dracula, whenever he was dispatched, it was a stake through the heart, and then it was a knife through the throat and a knife through the heart that killed him. No stakes involved. Very strange. And then his son, whose name is Alucard, He tells you that as he dies. Or no, he tells you that as you stab him. And then you realize that Alucard is Dracula backwards.
Oh.
And that's so stupid that you take damage somehow. No, you don't. You already got bit. But he doesn't die from the stake.
Uh-oh. Okay, I really quickly, I look at the table to see what food was being served. Was there any steak?
Yes.
I grab a steak.
Okay.
And I shove that into the hole that I made with the other steak, S-T-A-K-E, and I shove the S-T-E-A-K into that hole.
Okay, that makes him very uncomfortable, but he's still not dead.
Okay, I'm sure that's bad for your cholesterol.
But you know what? He's gonna back off from the. That was funny. He's gonna back off.
Man, I really miss being around comedians all the time where that is like a thing that you would hear. Like, oh yeah, that was funny.
That was funny. He's going to back off from you because of the garlic. So next person on the list, and this might get a little interesting. There's Igor and his hounds.
Okay.
So how are you going to take them out? They're coming at you.
I take the steak back out of the steak hole, and I toss it so that the hounds chase after it.
They are completely distracted. Yes. They no longer care about you. They just want the steak.
And then Igor, let's see. I'm trying to think of what might be effective. I think I have a hunch.
Okay. That was pretty good.
I say that to him just to sort of make fun of him and body shame him.
Yeah, he is one of the hunchbacked Igors, and he actually looks at you and says, "That was pretty good. That was a good one.
That was funny."
Yeah, he says that was funny. And he actually, and then he says to you, "I'm actually just a normal person, and human being, and I have the normal strengths and weaknesses of a human being."
Do I still have that gun?
Yeah, you still have a gun.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot Igor.
Okay, great. Igor's gone. He was a bad person, though, for sure, so don't feel too bad. So then you've got, I am so sorry about this, but you do, the Crypt Kicker 5 is here now.
Oh, bummer.
And
have they been playing the soundtrack this whole time?
Yeah, they've been playing the whole time.
Okay. Sort of like in like Kill Bill or movies like that where there's like a poppy soundtrack to like a big death scene.
Exactly.
Okay,
but
so
they're there and they're playing.
Take care of them.
And yeah.
Boy, oh boy. I'm going to get their bass player into heroin.
Ooh.
And it's going to just
the
completely
long game.
break up their band. It's going to make things really awful for them.
Yeah.
Someone's going to try to go solo, I reckon, and then like no one's going to have the success they had with the Monster Mash.
As soon as you get that bass player shot up with some heroin, the band just immediately stops. They look at each other. They say, "It used to be about the music.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's about anymore." They leave. The song is no longer playing, but everyone is still dancing. Well, everyone who's alive anyway. Because guess who's next? The host himself, Boris.
Oh, no. Yeah, by the way, who's the monster here? I've just been slaughtering these people.
True. Hey, Mike.
Who were just having a party.
That's deep. Well, they were going to try to hurt.
Okay.
They were monsters, and they would have eaten you. So just so you know.
Okay, so Boris. How zombified am I at this point?
Oh, you are gangrenous. You're
am I at a level where I could just bite someone else and that dispatches them?
Well, so if we're going with my earlier rules, then technically you would not be turned into a zombie from a zombie bite. If we're going with these older mythological
they just get,
zombies,
like sick.
Yeah, you would just get hurt real bad and maybe die. So because those zombies just are dead bodies brought back to life, as opposed to a virus that lets it travel.
More like
through
in
people.
Fury.
Yes.
From that riveting set of stories that were just passed down through generations and did not have an author.
Yes, exactly.
Boris, let's see.
Which to make things worse, the monster is right next to Boris. And
Boris's monster.
Boris's monster, which is it is a Frankenstein.
Technically, it's Boris's monster.
Yeah, it is a Frankenstein. Have you ever played Betrayal at the House on the Hill?
I have. In fact, I've been thinking about it while we've been playing this game.
There's one of the situations where it essentially is it's a Frankenstein's monster. But like my favorite thing is whoever is the traitor on that, it just becomes their monster. So it's like, oh, this is Missy's monster.
Oh, that's funny.
This is Vanessa's monster.
This is the Mike Robbins.
This is the Mike Robbins, but it's just a Frankenstein. So you've got a Frankenstein and a human Boris who are right there.
Okay. I'm going to guess, given the sort of decor, that there might be wall-hung torches.
Oh, you better believe it.
Well, and of course there's the fireplace. I guess I knew that already. I'm definitely going to grab a torch and go, back, you beast, to Boris.
Because he's the real monster.
No, I will do that to, from his slab, he began to rise, that monster.
Well, so you've lucked out because he's afraid of fire, and also... this is what's interesting, is no one knows how to kill a Frankenstein because it's just a made-up thing, right? It doesn't come from any...
Because all these other things are real.
well. So it came from a fictional book, right? Instead of mythological lore being passed down through generations, right?
I see, yeah.
So the Frankenstein was invented whole cloth. So no one there's not like rules of how to kill a Frankenstein's monster. There's not like weaknesses. Yeah. But in the book,
you just have to like set him adrift on a raft or something.
In the book, after he sees that the person who made him is dead, the Frankenstein's monster, which I'm just going to call a Frankenstein because I like calling it that and it's funny. Yeah. The Frankenstein says that he's going to go to the North Pole and set himself on fire and kill himself.
Yeah.
So it seems that he believes he could be killed through burning, which I think means that you have successfully dispatched this Frankenstein, which means you're just left with a crazy scientist.
Boy, oh boy. Okay, let's see. I was working in the lab late one night. I was trying to think of like what I know about Boris.
He's a worker. You know he's a workaholic.
Yes, but he tells me... effectively, ostensibly, and me and anybody else listening to his song, to say to whoever answers the door that Boris sent you. So he seems congenial.
Yes,
he seems inviting, hospitable.
He's looking around in shock and horror at the bloodbath around him.
Can I gauge that he is a threat to me, though? Like all these other creatures?
He also seems like a normal human person with normal human strengths and weaknesses.
But with the motive of doing harm unto me?
No, he seems mostly sad that his monster has died.
Okay. Okay, I drop the revolver.
Okay.
I drop the torch. I drop the fire poker. I'm holding all these things like a video game guy.
Yeah. Dunk.
We both just stand there and I just look at him and then I say, clean up this mess. Get your shit together. And then I walk out the front door.
Do you still have the garlic on you?
I do.
Okay, great. So as you walk out the door, the vampire...
Oh, and wait. I grab one of the steaks from the table and I go, I'm fucking taking this. And I just have it in my hands.
Is it S-T-E-A-K?
S-T-E-A-K,
Okay,
yes.
great. So as you're walking out,
fillet.
the vampires you didn't kill try to get you, but you're still wearing the garlic, so you escape with only one zombie bite. So honestly, Mike, very good job.
Hey!
That was...
a steak.
And a steak. And you let one of the humans live, and all the band members live. And you dispatched most of the dangerous monsters.
Do you think those events are what inspired Boris to write Monster Mash? Like he was in such a dark place and he was like, let me fictionalize this story as like a big party.
It's like Life of Pi whenever it's like, was there actually a tiger or was there cannibals? And it's like, I hope it was a tiger.
I didn't ever see that or read it, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, maybe...
Is it sort of like Chicago, the musical movie?
Yeah.
Or that awful movie Sucker Punch. How it's like, what is going on actually?
I had to explain, Mike. Thank you so much.
Should
for
we
bringing
just real quick do an episode on Sucker Punch?
Thank you so much for bringing up Sucker Punch because I had to explain. So I loved Sucker Punch when it came out because I was that target demo because it was like Zack Snyder and it was like hot girls and it was like it was quote
like
unquote
sepia.
deep, like
yeah,
and cool action, and like I loved it. And then it wasn't until years later that I looked back and I was like, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
But I had to explain Sucker Punch to Charlie, and it made me ashamed of myself and also like of mankind, because I was trying to explain to her who Zack Snyder was because of the Snyder cut with Justice League and everything. And I was trying to explain to her why it wasn't going to be good, because she doesn't care or know about any of this stuff, because she's like, you know, a cool, normal person.
Yeah, who has like interests and like beliefs.
Right, and like is not just like, you know, her personality isn't based on a movie that was bad.
Yeah.
And so then I had to explain Sucker Punch, and I was like, oh God, he wasn't good. He hasn't made a good movie in a long time, so why would this be good? So anyway. But that was the Monster Mash hack and slash bash.
Sucker Punch.
yeah. I was like, listen, Sucker Punch was his last good one, and I will die on this hill.
Oh
it's a
God.
Masterpiece.
Movie is wild.
It's so dumb.
Isn't John Hamm in it?
Yeah,
I think he is.
He is in it, and so is Oscar Isaacs.
Oh my God.
Oscar Isaac. Yeah, when he was a young buck. And Vanessa Hudgens, High School Musical.
Yeah, right.
So let's see. We've talked a lot about the Monster Mash and a little bit about how Star Wars it is. I feel like it's not very Star Wars because it is just a like 3-minute long song.
Yeah, right. The only things I have that are like working for it, which one even isn't, is 5-act structure, which Star Wars is more like a 3. It's got weird, clunky dialogue at the end.
Yeah.
It's got great sound effects, and it is great music.
Yes, and I will throw in sequels. It has sequels.
Yes,
and
it's like a franchise.
It is a franchise in a way. But I'm
by
gonna say
like auteur.
Yes, a singular vision.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say it is still probably pretty low on this scale. I'm trying to think. Let me look.
Oh, and the influences. It's doing the sort of like doo-woppy 50s rock and roll plus the like classic movie monsters.
For sure.
Plus the night before Christmas poem structure.
Yes.
It's combining a lot of things.
I think for my unit of measure, mine is going to be Dracula and his son.
Okay.
Because I feel like.
Okay. Let's see.
Are you also looking? Are you also looking at the lyrics? Because I was.
I think my unit of measure, I'm debating between impetuous young boy. I don't think I'm going to do that. That's like too obscure. Mine is going to be Boris's Electrodes.
I love it.
That has always been a line that like tonight we've like read the lyrics because like we've had to, but like that's always been a line that sticks out, especially coming from a person whose like lyrics don't like always hit, or like they don't always like make a lasting impression on me. I've always known and have been ready to say, "Get a jolt from my electrodes."
Well, I'm going to give it a 2 because it's Dracula and his son.
Okay, we're talking about how Star Wars it is, not how good it is, right?
Yeah, how Star Wars it is.
Okay, how many jolts from his electrodes? I'm thinking, gosh, 2 feels low, but also this is a novelty Halloween song from the 60s. So,
you know what's crazy is that the Monster Mash is older than Star Wars.
It is by a long shot.
By a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so it can't be referencing Star Wars in any way on purpose.
No.
That's not necessarily what the show is about, but yeah, I'm gonna say, gosh, I because I don't feel good about a 2, I'm gonna say a 2.5 electrodes.
All right, that's fair.
So that's like 2 electrodes and 1 Voltorb.
Cute. I love that. Well, there you have it, folks. Our first song.
You have it. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, we might just need to start doing a song podcast.
Yeah, this is our new. This is our backdoor pilot into only reviewing
just
songs.
Like Mike and Josiah talk about a single song for an hour.
Well, let's see. Do you want us on the internet? Because if you do, you know what? Yeah, because if you do, you can find us at How Star Wars Is It on Twitter and Instagram.
The Instagram, I try to post sometimes. I've been really bad about posting on Twitter, both from my own Twitter and the show. But
Instagram
I think I did
is good
today. Yeah, like the Instagram is where it's at. But kids,
hey kids, Instagram's where it's at.
Facebook is over, and Twitter is. It rewards very funny, quippy people who post a lot, and we are not that.
No, we're not.
But
we
Instagram,
have a consistent
every
schedule.
so often, I'll post a picture of the thing we're talking about, and then be like, "Listen to the show."
Yeah, and it's fun. And speaking of fun, Instagram, go follow Mike at Rule Follower Toys for sure.
Rule Follower Toys and Word Gospel 09 is my Instagram, as well as my YouTube account. I have a recent toy video on there, and I do hope to do some more soon. I have like 3 different ideas in my head, and a couple of them I've already sort of started planning. So hopefully I will have new YouTube videos. I wouldn't say before the end of the year, because they are a pain in the ass to make, but I will have them up before, say, this time next year.
Yeah, hey, that's a solid goal.
Yeah.
You can find me at josiah.biz, and my website is josiahrobinson.biz. I got an audiobook out and another one coming out, or maybe it's already out. I don't know when it's going to release because I'm not involved in those decisions.
You gotta get the code.
I think that's kind of everything.
Leave us a review if you would, please. I know we asked that last week. I want to keep remembering to try to ask that more, because I know it does help, apparently.
Yeah, leave a 5-star review. do rate it 5 stars, and then leave a review. Tell your friends to listen if you like the show, and if they like the show, tell them to keep listening. Steal your friends' iPhones, leave a 5-star review on it.
Go do a dinner theater in Alaska and take everybody's phone.
Yes, take everyone's phones, make it do 5 stars. I think and
check out our t-shirts and shit.
Yes,
I'm wearing one right now.
Sweet. Look forward to some more spooky episodes.
Yeah, 2 more.
Spooky in quotes. But yeah, I think that's everything, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, like we always say,
we love you.
And may the 4th be with you. Ha ha ha.
From my electrons. Hop in my Chrysler. It's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail.
Okay, now I can hear you. What did you say?
You'll just have to find that later.
Fun, exciting surprises.